Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Reddit, what's a real thing that you can't believe is real? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Virus. On the microscopic level, they are creepy as F. They aren't even technically living. They inject their own DNA into a cell, recoding it to make more viruses until the cell literally bursts open and dies because of all the viruses in it. It's possible for every single one of those viruses to attach to a different cell and insert DNA that does the same thing. What the F? Lucid dreaming. Being able to control your dreams and living in a completely different world, so to speak, while you're asleep. The thought of it gives me goosebumps. If something like this is real, it goes to show how complex our brains are and how much we don't know about it still. CRISPR and gene editing therapy in general. I mean, the fact that we're nearing an age where we can modify the makeup of our DNA has huge implications. There will have to be an extensive legal system that results from this technology. The Apollo program. We strapped dudes on top of about 36 stories of explosives to explode them to the moon and then exploded them back without them dying. Oh, and basically to get them back, they fell back to Earth from the height of the moon. Platypuses. I mean, what even are those things? They look like beavers fused with ducks. They are mammals, but they lay eggs. They're just the product of some effed up science experiment. There's no other explanation. A little late to the party, but for me it's blue whales. That thing is enormous. It's literally a goddamn sea monster. It's just so happened to be a sea monster that eats tiny crabs. But still, their hearts are the size of a small car. A small effing car. There's a building in your town where you can get as many free books as you want, as long as you promise to play nicely and bring them back soonish, so other people can enjoy them. And people actually do it. Wild guinea pigs. I've seen them as pets, but for some reason I find that the thought of them running around wild both hard to visualize and hysterically hilarious. Smartphone. I have the entire internet, my entire music library, and a bunch of games, and oh, that phone thing too in my pocket. Everything is accessible at all times. It's wonderful and kinda crazy when you step back. Coming from a Gen Xer, to think about when I was 8 or 9 years old, that someday there would be a computer in my pocket that could tell me anything I ever wanted to ever know, including things I don't want to know, would just be science fiction. My son is that age now, and he'll never know what it's like to not have the internet till the lights go out. The entire Jonestown situation from the 70s. The thought that one man had that big of a power trip and could lure so many followers to South America is unbelievable. And not only that, but the fact that he could brainwash so many people to willingly drink the Kool-Aid is just astounding. The whole situation was just tragic. The scale of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. The radius of unlivable land was absolutely insane. It's especially crazy because it wasn't super suburban. I can't even imagine something like this happening in my area. White birch bark. It has a natural oil in it that makes it incredibly flammable even when wet. You can literally submerge it in water overnight and use it to start a fire in the morning. I've done it. How something that flammable can be in the woods without constantly burning the forest down is unfathomable to me. It's like God left us this little Easter egg in nature just to make camping in the rain a little more tolerable. How some organic material in your head and some chemicals firing in your body are creating thoughts and feelings. Edit. Fixed grammar issue. Edit 2. Woohoo, my first gold for a comment made by my own organic material. 1. Antibiotics. 2. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria. We created a series of drugs that killed absolutely everything. Diseases that used to kill and disfigure us in horrible ways could be wiped out after taking some pills for a few days. And now, for a multitude of largely preventable reasons, a lot of those miracle murder drugs are less and less effective as bacteria evolve resistance to them. Soon, some of those illnesses that have just been an inconvenience to us for the past several decades could become deadly and horrible again. I think Alfred talked about this in The Dark Knight. Escalation, right? So you create something and then something creates itself over and over again. Kind of like people who dope in the Olympics and then they spend more money on anti-doping and they have to keep inventing new ways, so it's a cycle. Humans. We're the only thing that has existed the way we exist in the history of time on this planet. Nothing else has even come close to what we do on a daily basis. Nothing else has ever built a road or a bridge for the benefit of their species. Nothing else has ever come close to leaving our planet, but we do it reasonably often. Nothing else has built a network where they can instantly communicate with another member of their species the way humans have. No other animal has built anything more ingenious than a spear. We've built nuclear bombs, airplanes, rockets, drones, cars, boats, elevators, TV, radio, the internet, robots that can do backflips, etc. We've also changed other species. Remember that dogs used to be wolves? We did that. We get a chihuahua from an effing gray wolf after many, many generations of selective breeding. We've domesticated cows, horses, goats, sheep, pigs, chickens, ducks, etc., etc. We are capable of literally destroying the world we live on, or saving it. We're the biggest mind F of all, and we don't ever think about it. Astronomer here. There are now a few thousand known exoplanets, aka planets around other stars, and for many of them it's hard to believe they actually exist, and it's not just science fiction. There's a planet bigger than Jupiter, but with the density of styrofoam. There's a so-called diamond planet, where as the name implies, the planet is carbon-rich in composition and likely a third diamond. There's one where it rains vaporized rocks, and those are just a few off the top of my head. It's so fascinating to see what diverse worlds there are out there. Edit. People are asking how you find the density of an exoplanet. For planets found via the transit method, where it briefly eclipses the star, you know the size of the planet based on how long it takes to cross in front of the star, and can thus figure out things like its radius. Then, once you know that, you can find its mass by first watching the transit to figure out the planet's period of orbit, and from that, you can use Kepler's third law. Density is equivalent of mass over volume, so voila, styrofoam planet. My dog. Sometimes when I'm cuddling her, I truly cannot believe there is an animal sitting in my house that trusts and loves me. She'll be walking through the kitchen sometime and I'm like, that's an animal in my house. The fact that people are so gullible that they'll believe clickbait videos on YouTube like, you won't believe what this man found up his ass, and they'll share it everywhere. A little bit of research can disprove any video they believe. The US healthcare system. I'm still on my dad's plan. He pays about $500 a month for healthcare, which includes dental and eye care, and I still have to pay a copay to the doctor. Plus, anytime I have an emergency, that's $300. At the dentist, I get 2 free cleanings a year. Everything else is covered around 10%. It doesn't even cover getting my wisdom teeth out, which I need but can't afford. The eye insurance covers basically nothing. I get $10 off my frames. I can live without dental or eye care, but health insurance is something that is ridiculously overpriced. Money. Greed. Money. Yeah. If you got it, you can get it. If you don't, you won't. North Korea. I still find it so hard to believe that in 2018 there is a nation of more than 20 million people who live in such effed up authoritarian conditions, and seem to do so willingly. And to this, that place has a figurehead like him. I mean, he literally looks like a James Bond villain, and they do things like build nukes instead of farms or whatever, and have horrible secret gulags, etc., etc. It's amazing, in a bad way. Flat Earthers. I think this is one giant meme that they are all in on. Everyone just kind of understands that we're going to troll it like we're all 100% serious about it. I don't think anyone can actually believe it. How little people give a shit that we're worse than the Permian extinction, aka the Great Dying. I know we haven't reached those levels yet, but yet is the key word. We've already caused mass amounts of extinction, such as mammoths, giant sloths, woolly rhinos, etc., before industrialization because we were so damn good at hunting. Then we kicked it up within the past 200 years that we wipe our ecosystem for fast extinction, and it's barely even acknowledged, let alone acted upon. In a generation or two, there might not be any wild elephants, giraffes, tigers, lions, orangutans, or dare I say, even polar bears. Yet, people today wander around their self-centered lives, staring at their cell phones and not giving a shit. I don't think that history will remember us in a positive light.